This was awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
What's up, y'all? What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody out there? Thank you for joining me for another episode of High Low News. And this is a special edition of the Roundup. I wanted to break down some of the political races in Dade and Broward and also get into what the fuck happened with Florida. Everybody was clowning us with the presidential election, so I want to get into that too. So make sure y'all like, y'all share, tell a friend, share the video so more people can know what's going on. I have a really, really dope panel. I'm really excited about everybody that's here today. And also, too, we're going to get into some next steps. Like, now that the election is over, what do we need to do to stay engaged to, hold elected officials accountable? So I think I got a really good crew here that'll help me break things down for y'all. So without further ado, we just going to get right into it. We want to make sure we get as much in because it's a lot to talk about. So my first panelist I want to introduce, he is from South Miami-Dade. That's my homeboy. I love him to death, to life. He's a social justice minister. This is Denzel Burnside. What's up, Denzel?
What's going on, Janae? Hi, everybody from High Low community. So glad to be supporting my sister and what she's doing out here. You're doing the work, man. I love it. I love it. I love all of it.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate the love.
Oh, man, I know you got to give our people accolades, man. I see you really, really trying to build out a voice of Black media, and we always talk about it. We need, hopefully whatever God does with me in this future of investing, man, I can be able to put some people behind you. So, yeah, we need it, man.
I receive it. Hallelujah. Up next, we got the beautiful Vanessa Pierre. She's engaged. She's an engaged community advocate, educator, and former City of North Miami candidate, excuse me. But I wanted to bring her on because she had her own perspective of things, and we talk a lot on social media. So I wanted to make sure Vanessa got in on this conversation. What's up, Vanessa?
Hello.
Hey.
For having me here. I live from High Low News. So I love what you're doing. I love your platform, and I'm just happy to be here today.
Oh, that's so sweet, homegirl. I love you too. Up next, I want to introduce someone that I really, really wanted to make sure got in on this conversation. I feel like he's like one of the smartest people that I've met. Former senator from South Miami-Dade as well. His accolades go on and on and on. He had to tell you all about that, but he told me to keep it simple. Senator Dwight Bullitt, thank you for joining me. You gotta unmute yourself, baby. You gotta. And
that was me out here trying to be quiet backstage. Greetings, everybody. Good to be part of the conversation. Look forward to chopping it up with you on High Low.
I appreciate that. Up next is another one who I'm real close with. I call him my brother. He always checking in on me. I love him. He's a community strategist and radio personality from Broward County. Anthony Malcolm, thank you for joining us today. Hey.
What's up? Man, you already know I love what you do from day one. I saw the vision, and anything I could do, shares, talk, out there, just getting the word out there. Because like Denzel said earlier, it's much needed for Black media. You know how Black media, we're the only community that really don't communicate within each other like that. So to get the proper information out there. So I'm super excited about what you're doing with this platform. So much love.
Man, y'all gonna have me up here crying for the show star. This ain't even that type of show. Thank y'all. Up next, I want to introduce another guy who's really, really super cool. I love his show, Tech Beats and Bites. He's a tech guy, entrepreneur, marketing extraordinaire, et cetera, as well. I want to bring on the show Mike Hall. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up? Congratulations for what you're doing. Let's get to it. Let's get to the talk.
Yeah. And then also I'm so happy this sister to join me. I love her to life as well. It's so many accolades behind her name as well too. Founder of the Smile Trust, top leader in New Florida Majority, community advocate, will tell you like it is whenever. My sister with the People Matter Fest. She, without further ado, Valencia Gunda. What's up, boo? I'm so happy you could come on. Hey, boo, you let me see. You gotta unmute yourself.
There we go. Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up? A lot of y'all, this is y'all first time on High Low News, and I really, really appreciate it. Y'all, a lot of y'all been wanting to get on the show, so I'm really happy that y'all were able to jump on. Like I said, share the stream with y'all followers because y'all got y'all up there, y'all do numbers, so we can make sure that people see it. But I want to jump right into it. Let's talk about the local elections. Some of the key races to me, like this year, were like the in Miami-Dade County, the mayor's race, some of the council seats, some of the local races. I want to know, what were your guys' thoughts on the Miami-Dade County mayor race? What were your thoughts about that election? Anybody want to kick it off? Y'all want me to kick it off?
No, V got
I'm glad.
Thank God is what I feel about the Miami-Dade mayor's race.
Yep.
Thank God. Because
Hello.
to deal with our governor who we have, the senator that we have in D.C., who is still currently president until January, and then to get who was going against her, we would have been in a world of trouble, Miami-Dade County. Good job, Miami-Dade. We did good. We did good. Because Daniella Levine Cava is definitely the choice. And I feel as if this is the first time that we didn't have to choose between the lesser of the two evils. Daniella Levine Cava. I feel as if she's always been in right relationship with community. I feel as if she has community experience as the founder of Catalyst Miami, which is an anti-poverty organization. She comes from movement. She comes from community. And I know people be like, oh, she's a white woman or whatever, but she's always been a great ally to the Black community for many, many years. Since she's been a commissioner, she has been a great ally on the dais. She has always been to the forefront in supporting our issues we need for our community. I feel as if we made a really good decision, Miami-Dade County. A really, really good decision. Thank y'all, all the voters in Miami-Dade, for doing it right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was actually scared. So from the first, before we even got to November 3rd, I honestly thought it was going to be Pinellas and her, because I mean, the amount of flyers that I got in my mailbox, like I got like 2 Levine Cava flyers in my house, like every day. And when Pinellas on it, listen, talk about a budget, she was on it. And Pinellas, I was just like, all right, we had them before, but then I'm going to speak from my perspective because I do come from North Miami, born and raised North Miami. And the media in North Miami is predominantly through radio, right? So it's not going to be like Facebook where, you know, like let's say other communities can just hop online, they hop on High Low News, they can read their articles and they know who you're endorsing. So for me, even though I was born here, but like a lot of the people who do vote, right, the older people, they rely on the Haitian radio. And when I was hearing, I was scared. I'm just like, what are we doing, people? We can't be backtracking. We can't be backtracking. So I heard a lot of Pinellas stuff. And if he was eliminated, I was happy. But then they shifted over to Bovo. And I'm just like, what are we doing for a couple of pieces of dollar? You know, like for little scraps of meat. So there are a lot of misguided people in my community, in the Haitian community, that no matter what, if you're throwing $20 at them, if you are going to buy a sack of rice for them, they will sell you out.
Wow.
On the Haitian radio, they were like,
a sack of rice.
It's been done. It's been done. So like even on the Haitian radio, like there's like, you know, popular how do you say that in English? Animator or like a journalist on the radio, broadcast person, and he's like, you need to vote for Bovo because, you know, he's things so ridiculous I can't even remember, because I was just like, what are you talking about? But because unfortunately my people can be easily swayed and misguided. It is so easy, and especially as a candidate, I ran for office last year. When I tell you it's easy to sway them people, it's easy. And with you have anyone on the radio telling you, because the Haitian radio is like the breakfast club of the Haitian community, one and done. So I am absolutely amazed. I'm just happy. I'm ecstatic that Danielle Levine Kava is where she needs to be, because if not, I would be a little shook.
Agreed.
I would just add that elected officials are miracle workers, and I think too often we get caught up in this adoration around personality. I like Daniela; she's great, but she's also a tool that we need to use for our liberation at the end of the day, right?
That part.
And so everyone needs to get into that mindset, right? That our communities have problems. We need to coalesce around what the solutions for those problems are and move those problems through the proper channels to get them done. So if transportation is an issue at the county level, if we're not getting the proper kind of development dollars moved into spaces, if we need to build out a broader tech enclave that's more inclusive of Black tech, all those things need to be stated, written down, and presented. We just can't expect that because people are there and they look like us, or they part of the sorority, or they been around for a while, that all of a sudden they're going to know. Closed mouths don't get fed. At the end of the day, we got to continue to put our word out there and put out the things that we need. Otherwise, it doesn't get done.
No, I totally agree. Denzel, you wanted to add anything, or Mike?
I'll yield to Mike.
No, I agree with everything. I think everything was well said, but the main thing goes with what the White and Valencia said. You got to have a plan. Now that you have somebody in place that's willing to listen to you, now the goal is to present active plans that can move things to the next level. But I at least feel you have somebody there that's going to be receptive of those opportunities versus someone that will be more closed-minded to the opportunities.
Agreed.
I think, well, first off, Danielle's from South Dade. I think that needs to be put up. Shout out me and Bull for South Dade, because we don't get no love.
They don't be giving the South no love.
Y'all don't give South Dade no love out here in these Miami-Dade streets. So I'm gonna claim this one right here. We gonna, you know what I'm saying? North Miami, everything north. I call it me and Vino. We go back and forth. Everything north of the wall, and I include anything where that Metro Rail begins. Dadeland, get love. Everything else that's Cuba. So we gonna take Danielle and we gonna ride that unicorn all the way to the bank, baby. You know what I'm saying? But to the point, one of the reasons I was so hard pressed on Daniela was, I learned everything I learned in politics. I got from the Bullet House. That needs to be established, right? So my whole framework of how I understood how to engage with politicians, most times because Big Bro was trying to tell me to not like bust somebody in the head or something because I was pissed off. I didn't know how to articulate things. But what I love about Danielle is her character, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the time right now where it's like, usually you have to like V say you got to pick the lesser of the two evils. Like Daniela really, really be about caring for people, bro. Like she really, like, I don't think anybody get it. Those toys, I dropped off toys for those kids inside that immigration center, man. And I had tears in my eyes thinking that our mayor, Jimenez, currently gave that access over to the Trump administration when that didn't have to be the thing, man. So, Daniela was like, was really adamant about trying to do that. She, she's serious about conservation issues. One of the big issues that I know V's strong on in terms of environmental stuff, which affects our community as well. We don't like to talk about this. And I'm gonna give you even this. I'm gonna go even one step further because I remember, I called you that day. I had got a word from God that day to actually, and everybody knows the minister, but I got a word from God that day to actually go pray with her early in her campaign. And she actually was at the Cosmos event. Now, for those who don't know what Cosmos is, it's actually a coalition. I don't know what the acronym stands for, and I think Bull got it better than me, but it actually is the Muslim Association, the group, whatever, that they meet together. And she was there at the table with some of the people who are no longer in office or whatever. But the fact that she answered her phone, she said, "Come see me." We sat down, we prayed. She received the wisdom, And I told her, I said, look, I want to be as best as I can an advocate to help you maneuver through this faith community. And the fact that she gave that kind of access, when I've seen people on the other side as clergy not be able to do that, and then even there was like, yo, D, come sit down at the table with me, come meet some folks, come link up with the group. I knew everybody at the table, but that's the kind of person she is. I need a mayor like that, yo. I don't know about you, but I need somebody like that to be like, answer the phone. What's going on with you? How you doing? Okay, I hear what you're saying. How can I maneuver? And I know all of us have stories like that because we haven't seen that with Jimenez. I'm a little mad that he's now a congressman of my area, but you can't win them all. So
is it Jimenez or Jimenez?
I say Jimenez because I pronounce G's, but it's probably Jimenez. I don't know.
It don't matter.
He's congressman in South Dade though.
Isn't he now a congressman now?
He took over the person I used to work with, her chair, Debbie.
We don't let him slide for these 2 years, but he's got to go in 2022.
Yeah, he got to go.
I agree. But and just to piggyback on Daniela, she was one of the few elected officials or candidates on that level to do an interview with High News, and I really appreciated that because she could have easily been like, no, I don't got time. It was like a week and a half before the election, so she made time to do an interview with me, and I really appreciate that. And I think that's also too, I talked to her about what are you going to do about brain drain and keeping Black talent here? What do you have a Black plan? And she, was open to answering those questions. And I also pressed her about spending money with Black media. You have a big, budget. And she's like, that's something that she wanted to address. And so I really do agree with you guys about saying her accessibility and her seeming like she's going to try to do her best. And like you said, ain't nobody Jesus or, Superman. She can't be perfect, but I feel like we could at least have that conversation and see where it goes from there.
I think you also have an advantage point with her, Michael Finney, and with Matt Hagman coming back to the Beacon Council. You have an opportunity of people that can collaborate together to actually make these things come to life, and that would require people to have the understanding of the power of the Beacon Council. But having Matt Hagman back in a position like that to work with Michael, you kind of got a green team in place right now to start making things happen in Dade County.
See, now you're talking a foreign language to some folks, Mike. I mean, just being real, right? Like a lot of people don't understand what the Beacon Council is. A lot of people don't understand, Matt Hagman when he was at the Knight Foundation, his role and what he did. So I just want to, impress upon people the importance of using Google for its intention beyond just Wikipedia. The Beacon Council is in essence like the controlling entity for businesses and thus commerce in Miami-Dade County, right? And it's headed by a Black man named Michael Finney. That can't be, that can't be overstated. That you have a Black man who is helping to control commerce. Now, here's the thing: there are going to be a bunch of people around that person who want to block people like you and I from getting access. But thanks to folks like Tamika Hobbs at Florida Memorial, thanks to folks like V, thanks to folks like Mike, they have, these are the folks that we need to make sure know what the hell we need for our community so that folks like Michael Finney can make sure to address those issues, whether it be internship programs strictly for the inner city, whether it be, job placement, for our community. You got to understand, you got to use that opportunity while it's there because Michael Finney will not be there forever.
No, that's a great point. You want to add to that, Mike?
I wanted to say the reason I brought that up is because I think sometimes, people might see something like myself, well, we're not agreeing on certain things. But you got to know when you're doing something for the community, those things get much bigger. And a lot of times, we only see politics for just the votes. We don't see politics how it affects everyday life, and we don't have those kind of conversations. So when you got people on the ground level, you got to understand the ground can get messed up if the top is drinking, if the top is full of acid or the top is full of hate. If the top is not working with the bottom, per se, like you said, Danielle taking the time to reach with you, people will never go somewhere where they feel this uncomfort at. People don't want to be in a position where they got to answer to people they don't have the answers for. So I think you got to look at the whole pyramid or the whole structure of what's going on. And I think right now we have a much better structure of how we can move forward. So I just want to make sure that people understand Matt's position is not a political position, but you gotta have people that can work together cross platform and make these things work.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that down. And y'all, excuse Mike, he's like jumping on with us. He's in the car, so if his reception is bad, y'all bear with him. But I'm happy that he's taking the time to join us. I want to talk about the county commission seats. There are a few in historically Black communities, and Keon and Gypsy. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but they was going at it like they was basketball wives, and and then Tony and Maldonado, he was really holding on because he was trying to make sure that seat stayed with Black leadership, and Oliver, he got through with in the primary. So what are you guys' thoughts on those historically I guess those seats in historically Black areas, and them being, I guess, staying with Black leadership? What are your thoughts on that? I see some eye rolling.
I'll let V speak on what happened on her end. I'll speak on what happened down in South Day, because it was a war going on down here.
Right. One, I am happy that we were able to keep the seats Black, but I also think people need to understand, just because it's Black leadership doesn't mean that it's good for Black people.
Amen.
We got to be very clear about that. When it came to the race with Mayor Gilbert and Sabrina Fulton, I was pleased with the outcome. Although I do like Miss Fulton, I think she's an amazing person and a great leader. I was banking on Gilbert's experience. I like the work that he did in Miami Gardens. I feel as if he was able to lead Miami Gardens into a great innovative space, with Miami Gardens being the second largest city, Black city south of Atlanta. Was beautiful to see it grow under his leadership. I think he did an amazing job, and I feel as if he'll do an amazing job as a commissioner. So I was banking for him because of his experience. Although I don't live in Miami Gardens personally, but I do have a lot of family, business support, and everything in that area. And I also am a part of the Social Justice Institute at Florida Memorial, which is in Miami Gardens. So it meant a lot to me to know who would be the commissioner, who would be the mayor of that area. When it came to the race with Gypsy and Keon Hardeman, I personally didn't like how the knockdown drag of a fight was happening.
It was tacky.
Real unprofessional and real ghetto. That I didn't like. I hated it, actually. I feel as if Gypsy was being disrespected, and as a Black woman, I didn't appreciate that. I also think, like, I know she had an uphill battle because she was going up against the Hardeman machine, and it's a machine. For y'all don't know, like, all the Hardemans come from around America during election time and work the campaign. Like, they don't have nothing to be messed up with. Although Keon is a friend of mine from college, I still did not like the way the campaign was ran. I don't like how the attack was happening on a Black woman, and also the fact that Gypsy has community experience. She has been out here fighting in our communities for a very long time, and not just the Haitian community. Gypsy has did a lot in the African American community. She has done a lot in Liberty City, different parts of unincorporated Dade County. Gypsy has always been a great leader. So although she was not successful in her race, I want people to know that Gypsy has always been a resource and will continue to be a resource. Her organization has been around many years. Set Law, she's a great mentor of mine. I look up to Gypsy. I hope to be like her one day. She's amazing. And that's not me taking anything from Keon. If y'all want my true facts of the matter, I'm not pleased with the outcome. That's not what I wanted. But I also feel as if Keon Hardeman will be able to hold the position and do his job. I think we have to be prepared to do some accountability, like we had to do in the city of Miami when he was commissioner. And there was a lot of accountability we had to do toward his office as it relates to his district and then some of the decisions they were making. But he did show up in other ways. I think, especially when it came to Black businesses, especially in Overtown, he showed up. Overtown CRA, he showed up. I'm not always agreeing 100% with everything he does, but I think still having a Black person in the seat, we didn't lose it to a non-Black person, especially a conservative non-Black person, is super important, and I think we should celebrate that.
Yeah, agreed. And for me, watching the forums, although like you said, I'm cool with Keon, and I felt like I was rooting for him to win. When I didn't know of Jepsy before that, but when I saw her in the forums and then reading up on her, I was like, it wouldn't be bad if she won. Like, some people you're like, oh hell no, I don't want you to get this seat. And when I saw her, I was like, if she won, it would still be good for that district.
Right.
Vanessa, you added?
Right. So just to circle back, just going in order of how Valencia spoke. So going back to Fulton and Gilbert, I look up to Miami Gardens. Like, I always say, why can't North Miami, like with the demographics that North Miami has, why can't we be like Miami Gardens, right? Competent leadership. I'm not saying like everybody does everything perfect, but competent leadership. Like, everybody's hustling backwards for the most part, right? Like, we had a $2 million Super Bowl party. It got rained on, like at the the Red Garden, 130 million across from the Lincoln at the Red Garden. Like, we're already in the hole right now, right? Like, our budget is like bonkers, and we have leadership that is okay with throwing parties. It's like parties. And then for the things that we need to do, it's not there. So I always model like, dang, why can't we be like Miami Gardens, right? Like, people are actually trying to move forward. Like, they have events coming there. They have growth going on in Miami Gardens. So just based off of the growth that I've seen in Miami Gardens, like Valencia, I don't live in Miami Gardens, but like, I just look up and I'm just like, man, those people over there they actually want to like live, work, and play in Miami Gardens. Whereas we have people here and it doesn't look like that, right? It's like, well, let me make my little connections. Let me do what I got to do. And I'm going to be out. Y'all figure it out later. And that's messed up because like, some of us were born and raised in North Miami versus a lot of the leadership. If you look at the leadership in my city, they weren't born here, right? They're immigrants. And then they're just like, the way that their leadership style is, nothing against immigrants. I'm a first generation American, but I got to be real. The way that they're leading is like, what are you doing? We're not over there. Like, we are here. Let's take a look at the leadership that's right there in Miami Gardens. The income is not that different. The demographics are not that different. We can literally just copy and paste for the most part and emulate it, right? So for Miami Gardens, for Oliver Gilbert, I was like, let's do this, right? Because maybe we can copy, maybe a light bulb will come in and we can copy, right? Now for Gypsy and Keon, Gypsy was dragged through the mud. Like, they did her so dirty, like on the radio, like, like when you get those videos, like those forwarded videos.
Yeah, I saw one.
Yeah, and I'm just like, mind you, I know her. Like, I've worked with Sunla through the North East corridor, and I'm just like, is this the same? Like, are we talking about the same person? And it's just like, you literally see like people's true colors, like when election season is coming up, like, like when you're in that election grind mode. And fortunately, when I was running for office, that didn't happen to me, but like, I know that it happens to people. And I'm just like, I just felt so sorry. Cause it's like, you are going up against the machine and it's like, this shouldn't even be happening to you, right? This shouldn't be happening to you. And the last thing that, I don't know if it was you or Valencia that said this about having the importance of having Black leadership, Black non-conservative. At the same time, right, we have some Black face, Black body people who are registered Democrats. We know this, but that lean towards like a conservative agenda, right? So they can, give us money in CRA. They can do this, but like, they're making backdoor deals anyways, So like, they throw us a bone, but then like, they got the whole plate in the background, right? That we don't really even take notice to because we're like, thank you for this bone. Not saying that we're not grateful for the bone that they threw us, but like, it's not all glitz and glam.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to chime in after she definitely broke that down because I found it very interesting that she kept pointing out that a lot of immigrants come here with a mindset that is a way different from the natives that are here already, right? And that brainwashing comes from the island, whether you're from Jamaica, which I'm from, my parents are from, Haiti, Africa. They come here with this tribalism mentality, and it's very it's very destructive towards us building together collectively. And it causes a rift, and it's always that rift around the most important time of the year, which is around election time. And I feel like the mindset has to change on that. And I know I lead by example because there's a lot of family members that come here from my side of the family that will talk real janky about Native Black Americans here, you know, whether they lazy or don't associate with them. And you as a person have to check your family members to break that cycle. And I've done that plenty of times. So my family now, they're pretty much ironed out for the most part, you know what I mean? But it takes you to do that so we don't have that rift. Another thing that I don't like the mudslinging. I feel like we can all be great without the mudslinging. Just let your policies and what you do speak for yourself. But here's the problem that I have, right? It reminds me of, and we're all pretty much the same age range. It reminds me of Cool Runnings, right? When you got Cool Runnings in the episode of Cool Runnings, which is, you know, the Jamaican bobsled team, and the lead bobsledder of Cool Runnings was mimicking the Canadians. Sanka said to him, like, yo, we're not Canadians. We're Jamaicans. We got to move Jamaica. We got to talk Jamaican. We got to. And then when they changed their mindset, they started having the fastest record in the Olympics. And I'm saying that because we have Black people that's running, but we have white Democrats behind the scenes that have us doing things that's normally not in our character. So when I see the mudslinging, because I know personally, because I run with my state rep up there in District 95, and she was running against, you know, a candidate in her area, and there was a lot of mudslinging, right? When I seen the flyers that came from there, I checked my state rep about that. I called her up like, yo, did you do this? And she was like, nah, that's not me. That had nothing to do with me. And that's coming from white Democrats putting these flyers and circulars out here that is creating a rift amongst Black women and Black people in this political game. And we got to step away from that, man. I'm telling you, these people are like parasites and they attach themselves to us as hosts. And it's really destructive. We have to start doing things on our own in order for us to realize what's really going on and get to that next level.
So I definitely got to piggyback on what brother Malcolm was talking about. I need Black folks to realize, I want to speak to just Black folks for a second. You all can show up as your whole selves. I want to let you know that slavery's been over, right? We can go to school. We can read books that are made by Black people. I say all that not to be facetious or judgmental, but to be real, because we have way too many Black people still out here trying to seek validation from white folks. And it's like, if y'all do not understand that you can be who you are and stop kowtowing and acting as though, and I understand the nature of politics being rooted in compromise, but the way in which we have to compromise ourselves to get what we need for our communities. And this is what too often happens with Black folks who act in a political space. We compromise ourselves. It's not even like your willingness to go in and be a good faith negotiator. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to understand, Black folks, we've been treated inequitably from the very beginning. They have commodified and monetized Black bodies since the inception of this experiment called America. But for you to go in and say, my community needs X, definitively isn't something where you got to sit there and be like, oh, well, let me let me work it out, and if I can just get 10% of what, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, the hood needs resources.
Yes.
Period. Like, and for you to sit here and negotiate us out of what we need and then come back to the community and be like, look what I got, it does us all a disservice because you have more power than that. You look at places like Broward County, you look at places like Dade. If there was like a coalition, a real coalition, and I say this as a former member of the Legislative Black Caucus, if there was a real coalition where we could sit down and be some real Wakandans for a second and say, all right, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to demand, and if we get anything less than that, we're doing it only because we expect to get more resources next time, not some let's put our crumbs together. Let's try and get a little resources for Black colleges. Let's try and get, this little scholarship program. Get everything that they owed our ancestors. Like, that is your job.
That
so
part.
If you're on city council, if you're on state legislative level, if you're going to Congress as a Black person, we know that they're not going to give it to you because that's their goal. But that doesn't mean you don't ask for it. Like, exactly. Open your mouth and step into your power. Period.
Love it. Mike, did you want to add into that? I saw you nodding your head.
Well, me and Dwight have always agreed on this, and it comes from, and I know since I'm breaking up, I'll try to make the stuff real simple. Federal spending. If they spend the money, we need a percentage of it, or it needs to do something else. There's too many opportunities that go through our communities, and it's like you said, if the ask doesn't make you scared to ask for it, you're not asking for enough.
That part. I think, to piggyback on, like, when we were talking about mudslinging in Broward County, I want to switch gears a little bit. I saw that Chef Gregory Tony, he got his position, and they were, doing the most with him. They had him in swinging clubs and all the mudslinging stories. And so I get what we're saying in the with us, like within our community. Don't go there if we don't gotta go there. But I don't like when Black elected officials, like, it's also too, is like, we won't swing if they swing at us, if non-Black people swing at us. It's almost like, to me, it seems like, oh, I just have to take it, or I gotta take the high road. And I'm kind of like, fuck that, we go high, they go low shit. Like, it's like, you took a swing at me. And so it's like, these non-white people, they have like all these the Broward Bulldog, all these other things, like all these blogs that they'll come in, throw all this shit at you, but we gotta sit there and be Jesus Christ and stay on the cross and don't defend ourselves or come back at them. And I'm like, at what point do we stop doing that? And I'm like, I'm happy to see that brother, was elected and kind of persevered through that. But I'm like, Black elected officials, why don't we ever say, okay, I'm gonna stand up for myself and say this isn't true, and let me expose your shit too in the process? Like, why don't we do that?
I believe that happens for a few reasons. One, Stockholm Syndrome is a real thing. It's something that our community suffer with. Also, the fact that, like, the institution of democracy in itself in America is white. It is steeped in white supremacy. It's controlled by white supremacy. I don't care how many Black people get into whatever office, even under Barack Obama, the best president we ever had. Still, right? They handle things, they hold things, they control things. And I think when you're running a election, and I've seen this happen with candidates before, candidates who would step up and get jiggy with people, especially Black candidates who would stand up for themselves, the institution of the Democratic Party, the institution of the Republican Party would drop the gamut on people. It's a real thing, Janae. If you like it or not, I've seen it happen. They came after Dwight Bullitt. He's on this call right now. He stood against the status quo. He spoke out against the status quo, and the institution came from him. And that's just what it is. Until we can, one, either abolish the institutions that are there now, because 100% against two-party systems, right? I also am against the fact that I don't think the Democratic Party or the Republican Party deserves any black votes at all. You know what I'm saying? But when you say that, like a person like Sheriff Tony or whatever, or anybody, any black candidate, I've seen it happen when they stand up and they willing to sling the mud too. Not just that person who they're going against, the institution.
Wow.
For the person. And that's one of the reasons for what I saw in my 4 to 5 years being heavily involved in electoral politics. That's what happens. So I think most candidates be like, I can't do it because the institution is going to come. Like even like just looking at Georgia in 2018 with Stacey Abrams, like all of the fat shaming, she natural, she this, she that. And even when it came to the VP pick, people was pushing for Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams could be a great VP. And immediately, the institution, she ain't got the look. She ain't this and she ain't that, or she ain't black enough because she talked too white. Like all the bullshit when this woman was hella qualified to be fuck the VP, the actual president, in my opinion. But I'm just showing y'all like different examples of that happening over and over again. We saw what they did to Andrew Gillum. We see what happened when they did to Senator Bullard. We see it all the time. And I believe that most black candidates are afraid of that. And these people continue to indoctrinate our people with these messages all the time. And they control this type of thing. And I know we've been fighting, and Dwight to tell you about all of the work that we've been doing for years to try to change this narrative, but it's really, really hard. And as black people, we continue to give these institutions who mistreat our people, especially the people we want to do good for us, too much power, too much support, too much of our dollars all the time. And that's what's going to end up happening, Janae. Like I see it all the time too. Like the black candidates, they won't come after the non-black people because they already know. As soon as they do, dropping the hammer.
Wow. Thank you for breaking that down. Like Denzel or Dwight, y'all want to add into that, or anybody else on the panel?
I would
Tell the
just
truth,
add,
Dwight. Tell the truth.
I'm saying I would just add, go at them. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like what Valencia said is spot on, right? Like they're gonna come for your neck regardless. And this goes back to what I was saying before. The way they're able to neuter and spade black politicians is the same thing that Valencia is talking about, right? This threat of we're not going to resource you, we're not going to support your campaign, we're not going to do what we need to do to support you, no matter how much leadership you have, no matter how much education you got. And it's a double-edged sword, but what I'm saying is it's still a sword. So you have the power to use it the same way they have the power to use it. But you have to have a willingness to want to go ahead and get bloody for a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to figure out new and innovative ways to be like, fuck these crackers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with all due respect to the crackers, sometimes you just got to be fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all are doing things void of the total community, right? Mm-hmm. You're building new jails, thinking through a black lens, right? Like how many more black people can we lock up? You're trying to put more police on the streets, thinking how many more black people can we arrest? And being unapologetic about it, right? And coming with all these highbrow, bringing these white papers and dissertations about rising crime and prevention and all this. No, you're being anti-black, period, right? And so if black people in those spaces cannot be pro-black to counter a system that has continually been anti-black, what's your value? What are you fucking there for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you there for if you know that these systems have been taking advantage of your community since before you were born and since before your mama's mama was born? And then you walk into a space and be like, well, I think we should all work together. And when they come along and be like, all right, so what I'll do is I'll support a $50,000 investment in your community out of this $6 billion budget. If you also, in turn, support 100 new police officers that we're explicitly going to target in your community. And folks be out there like, but I got 50,000. You know what I mean?
You talking about somebody, but y'all don't want to acknowledge that.
You know what I'm saying?
Wait, who we talking?
I'm talking about the lot of them. I'm talking about folks we just elected to new positions.
Literally.
Who was doing that in their old position.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're out there and you hear this and you heard that Dwight was stepping on toes and you say ouch, it's because you did it. It's because you haven't apologized and will continue to do it. And this is the hamster wheel that we be on all the time, where folks will be like, well, the only way I could get this $1 million out of a $6 billion, $9 billion budget is if I supported so-and-so's initiative to lock more Black people up. Who does that? Who does that and cannot call folks out effectively to be like, you're harming my community through this initiative, and this $1 million blood money that you about to give me ain't gonna fix a damn thing.
And just to add on briefly to what the senator said, a lot of these elected officials, they make these moves because they're like, well, I'm gonna run in 2 years, so let me just keep quiet, or let me just do what this person asked because I'm gonna need them next year when I run. And it's like, you can't keep doing that. Like, so then, like, after you have that, like, after you do that, what are you gonna do? What real policy are you gonna enact? And just like what the senator said, it's this hamster wheel, right? It's like, okay, so after that, like, after you get this person to donate to your to support your election, your next go round, what real change is gonna happen? And it happens a lot in my city. It's or like anywhere, everywhere in Miami, it happens, right? And it's just like these people are sitting, they give you a little piece of the pie, and then it's like, you know what? I don't want to ruffle the feathers too much because then, you know, it may ruin my personal chances for what I got going on later.
You know, so Dwight being gracious by not dropping people's names, I answer to a higher power, so the only person I fear is what he gonna tell me. But straight up, yeah. So let's talk about this South Dade Keone Mcgee race, right? Let's just go there. Okay, this trifling Negro, okay, been trifling, okay? I tried to sit back and let it be what it was, but the boy been on the ED bus for the longest time. He drove all of South Dade on the ED bus. We had two very qualified individuals in South Dade, Marlon Hill and Johnny Farias. He might have not have had the accolades, but Johnny was a good dude. And Keone trifling behind sat up there and shamed Marlon up out of the community talking about something. The boy went to Southridge High School. First off, Southridge is South Dade. Let's not get it twisted. He sat up there and tried to bait that man into stupid discussions, went down there and goaded half of them old heads in Ghouls, West Perrine, and the likes. Half of my clergy homeboys who I tell you, if I see you, I take your collar from you because you don't even deserve to be a man of God, in my opinion, because you sat up there and let Moss crown this trifling dude who literally only got breadcrumbs for the community every semester. But guess what we got in South Dade? You know what the Moss plan is? Some damn trees. Nigga, you been my mayor, you been my commissioner since I was in damn near elementary school. All I got is trees. All I got is trees. Boom. Tell me I'm lying. Boom, tell me I'm lying, dog. You been in there since 92. Hurricane Andrew, cuz. All we got is trees. The parks ain't even been hooked up. Guess what? You go with the Daniella Levine Carver neighborhood, Janae. I guarantee you Quarry Park hooked up. I guarantee you go over to Pine Crest. They neighborhood hooked up. But guess what? Oh no, it's good because you know what? Moss from the neighborhood. Mackenzie, no. 27 years this dude sat in the chair, and them trifling ministers that I sat around literally gave that dude another green light so that he could turn our neighborhood into a city. I'm so glad Luisa Santos ran him out the neighborhood. I don't even care no more. I don't even care. I'm so over it. We literally lost. South Dade lost. So So when Debbie lost the chair because she jumped on the bandwagon thinking that the black vote was going to be solidified by trifling Keone Mcgee, what we used to call him, bull? Dumbass Keone. Dumbass Keone.
Who? Jesus.
Dumbass Keone.
My edges. My edges.
I ain't got time for it. I want you to understand how bad this is. I delivered toys to those kids in that damn detention center in South Day. Who was the rep? Who was the rep of the area, bull? This stupid ass nigga who literally signed on the Republican convention. Them damn kids in that condition center still. Cause Keone's stupid ass sat up there and don't play with them boys, thinking that it was gonna give them. And guess what? Since you don't know this, who you think put Elvis Maldonado on the race? The same people that was riding with Keone. Why? Because they was trying to split the damn vote from the Latino community on Johnny Farias. I said it. Let them know I did it. Come see me, dog. I'm about mine.
Denzel just went Game of Thrones on y'all. I hope y'all appreciate that.
Okay.
Tell them it was me.
I'm gonna let it be known. I supported Marcy Keone. I don't live in South Day, but from what I saw on the outside, I thought they were good choices. I'm gonna put that out there so it don't look crazy. If you go to Halloween,
nobody knows, and this is the problem. We keep on putting
Denzel views. Wait, let me just put it out there. Denzel views is his views. My views is mine. But I open the discussion. I open it for everybody. But thanks for letting me know, because my edges. I need some kaleidoscope. I need some vitamin E oil because you snatched the fuck out of my edges with that. But I like it. I like it.
27 years, Janae. All we got is trees, my nigga.
Put that on a t-shirt, somebody. All we got is trees.
Y'all think I'm playing, dude? The whole community been gentrified. Ain't no Richmond Heights no more, bad. Ain't no middle class black neighborhood. Nigga, my grandma's house got a Mexican living next door and a Cuban. Cause this nigga don't want to do what he's supposed to do.
V turned off her camera video.
Please give you a lot of oxygen. Y'all got a lot of oxygen down there.
Ooh, Jesus. I was not expecting that, but I was expecting that.
But what Denzel said was right. I'm glad that Luisa Santos got him out of there because he was termed out. Seemed like he was just jumping. He was like, okay, what's the next best thing smoking, right? Let me just hop onto this school board seat. Louisa worked her ass off, okay? And
did.
And I'm so happy that she got him out because I was just like, because when I saw 92, I was just like, wait, I was born 88, and I'm just like, wow, and you still here, 2020? And I'm a whole 30 whatever now, and I'm just like, no, you gotta go, because my whole thing about people holding seats that long is like, if the community is still in shambles and a whole generation then went through like its whole, like, now I gotta look at you, because if we're no better than what we were, mind, I was born in 1988, and if the community is looking the same or worse now in 2020, you need to go, because now you're just looking for a check.
Right. And the thing about it is, and I just want to chime into what Denzel was saying, like where Commissioner Moss got jammed up real strong was in backing Carlos Jimenez in locking up more black and brown people via this immigration push, because he thought Jimenez would support him on his initiative to create a city. And then you get jammed up on it. And guess what? Jimenez did not support the initiative to create a new city. You know what I'm saying? So this is the thing. And it's not indicative of just a Commissioner Moss. This is literally what ends up happening, because we've got a bunch of bad negotiators that got their 3-year law degrees, out here touting all kinds of titles and letters behind their names, and then go into county government, go into state government, go into these federal spaces and get smashed by folks who run circles around them, all because they didn't read the pamphlet before they got there, right? You know what I'm saying? All because they chose not to pick up a basic American government book that says, this ain't gonna be the move, and do it. So I'll pat myself on the back. I remember one time representing Key West, they were like, yo, we need 50 million and we need you to get it. And I was like, okay, right? And it's like, well, how's this black man gonna get it? What I did was go to the person who could give me the money, heard him out. He was like, I'll give you the money if you help me set up this white person. I was like, I can fuck over a white person. That's not a problem. I can do that. Went, did it. Guess what? Secured the bag for the keys. That's how the story goes. You know what I'm saying? At no point, I didn't have to bend over backwards. I didn't have to walk no thing. I had all the black folks looking at me like, well, how did you? Don't worry about how I did it. I did it because I actually paid attention to who's running this joint up here. Now, here's the kicker. Same year, we're trying to get money for black farmers, some black folks who had basically bad negotiated, fucked over black farmers. And I'm sitting here just like, and it's stuff like that that just irritates the hell out of me. And the kicker was the black farmers had just won a legal battle at the federal level. So all we really had to do was say, you know what? Black farmers deserve the same thing they're getting in DC, they deserve in Tallahassee, period, point blank, and we're done. And use the legal precedent. I'm not even a lawyer, but I know enough to know that you can say, we're going to leverage this money they just got from the feds, put the same language in a bill, and guess what? They can't argue what the Supreme Court's already ruled on. They should be able to secure the bag. What do black folks do? No, we're going to negotiate. I got it. Don't worry about it. Guess what the black farmers got?
Zero.
I've said it, and I will say it. I will say it again, and I will scream it until we understand this. Black folks will sit there and mess around and negotiate a jobs bill, and you'll look at it and be like, are we about to return back to slavery? And they'd be like, but I got you free housing, though. So you good. Everybody's employed, and you got free housing. So why are you complaining? And you'd be like, because this looks a lot like slavery.
No.
but you mess around, don't read the fine print, mess around with these bad negotiators we got out here in these streets sometimes. You better, that's what I'm saying. And I said at the onset, let's come up with some solutions, present those solutions, and secure the bag. Because if you letting folks who again, still out here looking for validation from folks who once enslaved them, that's a person I can't trust at the end of the day.
Man.
So talking about solutions, Senator, what is the solution for this empty Keon seat? What is the solution to that? Because we all, there's always background
for
talk.
City of Miami?
Yeah.
That wasn't
Miami
true?
District 5? I mean,
So y'all know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be simple. They're gonna appoint Christine King. Unfortunately, that's from the Hardeman camp. And then it's gonna be a special election next year. I already know who running. We need to get behind the brother.
Hepburn.
I like Hepburn. He's actually in the comments. I like Aaron McKinney to do it. If he could.
He don't live in the city.
Oh, he don't? I thought he lived in the city.
But to Vanessa's question, again, we need to load up whoever's going to be and empower that person with the things they need to be going in and asking for. You have to understand, City of Miami District 5, you are the lone Black representative on a commission that does not look like you. And again, I get the notion of compromise, but you take like what Michelle Spence-Jones did, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, she was able to go in there, get some things done, and guess what? When people were like, wait, you're getting way too much for the Black community, here comes the setup to V's point, right? Like, oh, you're doing all this other stuff. And that's the thing that we have to understand is that, like, when the system comes trying to slap Black people down, that's the point where we got to be like, you're full of shit. The system's full of shit if you're going to set up a person for trying to secure resources for their community in the right and responsible way, and then make up a backstory, right, about how they got it, which is some foolishness.
You could go ahead. And
No, I was just going to say that I go to a lot of commission meetings, and I noticed that we always have one strong Black person that fights through all these other people, and most of them don't look like us. and it's so hard to get. We put that one person in and think that they're strong enough to change the whole panel, and they actually are mentally, they're being destroyed because it's so frustrating to talk about your people's and your community's issues with 4 other people that don't look like you or don't even care about your community. I've seen people on those panels care more about a damn empty golf course than to get food for the people during the hurricane season. I've seen that. So I'm like, I think a strategy that we have to get more involved in is getting more people on that seat who are pushing behind them, not only being Black, but having the same mind frame and agenda to get stuff pushed. I think Miami Gardens really set a blueprint for that, because a lot of things they were able to push because a lot of them on that panel had that same mind frame. So I think in order for us to get more tangible things, because we get so caught up in symbolic wins and gestures, if we get more tangibles going, we'll see that change and we'll understand how our votes are more effective. Because when people don't see those change, they think that, you know, voting don't matter, when in actuality it really does matter. Because if you look from Miami Gardens to even Opalaka and all these other seats that we put people in that's doing great work, it's because we put that vote in behind them and got them in that seat to make tangible changes and not a symbolic gesture.
Right.
That part. That's a good place, I guess, to pivot gears a little bit, because I know we're reaching up on an hour, but I definitely want to talk about the presidential election with you guys and what the fuck happened here in Florida and what we need to do moving forward. So did Black people show up this election? Where were we? Because I've been a week before that.
No Black and brown.
We did. Like, I don't want anybody out here thinking Black folks didn't show up and show out. We broke records, we broke numbers, we did all the things we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
In Miami-Dade, though, let's talk about anti-Blackness. Let's talk about our Cuban brothers and sisters. That's a whole nother show at the end of the day, because what we saw happen was the idea that people who are as melanated in many cases as we are still chose to go with a white nationalist, white supremacist president. You know, even with all the things that he said, that's a problem that we got to resolve, because if the next person comes around, if the Tom Cottons of the world or the Don Trump Juniors or whoever come up here trying to stoke racial flames and y'all buy, you know, and end up getting stupid again, we gonna have a problem. So I'm willing to open the door for a long-term conversation where it's like, we all got to get on the same page, because they was locking up Cuban immigrants, you know, through these ICE raids just as much as they were locking up any other group. And the idea that you can't see that this is what's coming from the feds, champ, we got a problem. And you can't be about socialista, comunista, because, and I want to put this as a former high school teacher, the American democratic system will not allow itself to magically shift to socialism by some magic wand or one person getting elected. And the last person that's going to do it is Joe R. Biden Jr. Let's be clear. Like I would wish that he would come up with something that was remotely in play for that. You know, I wish he would back a Green New Deal. He is the most vanilla,
very moderate,
institutional, government-minded, been in here for 50 years. So the idea that you listen to a radio station, you're like, Joe Biden's going to do it. He's going to take us down the common. I got to blame the Miami-Dade County Public School System, because I don't know what happened in the last 4 years since I left that y'all got. I don't know what y'all teaching the American government to these predominantly Latinx folks, but that ain't it.
Hello.
So you got
Listen, and the same thing you were saying, like in the Haitian community, like they listen to the radio and that's it. I mean, you give anybody, because you know you can buy radio time, right? So I think radio time goes for during election season as low as $200. You get your little 15 minutes for $200 or $500. You can spew whatever you want. Nobody's going to be out here fact checking you, nothing. And that was the problem. Everything was comunista or socialista. And I'm just like, what's going on here? And now we have a president that doesn't want to get evicted. He's looking real like Maduro right now, right? Because the same people in Doral or in Weston who are like, hey, they have elections in Venezuela where Maduro just magically always wins and he doesn't want to leave. It's looking a lot like what Trump is doing, but my thing is that why aren't the pieces hitting? Like, why aren't you seeing that this is the same thing? But to them, it's like a little gloss over the eyes, and it's like, no, it can't be. What are you talking about? Because the radio told me something different. So they can't be lying. So I'm trying to figure out the same way that you're trying to figure out, Senator, trying to figure out where that disconnect is, because I'm a little stumped as to like, where is this rhetoric coming from?
Because it's hard to sensationalize the truth. People don't want to hear the truth. So the fact that you have a body that presents facts versus lies, you've never heard somebody say that the nonfiction story was more exciting than the fiction story. That's why we like made up stories. That's why we like fairy tales. You start telling people the truth. People don't like to deal with the truth because it requires certain things. You have to start looking in the mirror, and that requires a reflection of yourself to dig into yourself to realize the flaws within. So right now you have people that are looking for that fairy tale to blame somebody else because people just don't like dealing with the facts. Now, what the Democrats have to do is, how do you make the truth sound good? Or how do you condense that messaging? Because you got to come back, just like Dwight said, people don't even understand socialism. Start asking a Republican to define the words they spew out. They don't even know what the words mean. They just may have heard it so many times. So it's like, if I keep on saying chicken sandwich, chicken sandwich, chicken sandwich, you might be a vegan, but you might still mention the word chicken. It's just the fact of repetition. They don't even understand what they're doing. They just know that they hear it so much it must be true. So that is the power of media. I mean, you got to understand, Carson Tucker, Fox News actually used their defense that no sane person would actually believe the stuff that's presented on Fox News. That's the way they got out of a lawsuit. So you got a whole news channel that said, you can't believe this bullshit we telling you, but continue to listen to us.
Real talk. That's true.
People don't take the time to intake the factual information because that requires research. It requires more than a YouTube, or it requires more than you just reading the headline off of somebody's Facebook post. That's why I have to give people progressional updates on my website. Like, hey, I'm gonna give you this nugget so you can come in, then let me tell you the truth. You gotta do like the real life, you know. And because if you think about everything we talked about, we were talking about money. All the money we're talking about is still federal spending. You got to know how the money comes down the pipe. If you don't understand how the money comes down the pipe, you're just missing all the money. So we just have to have a whole different. Me and Dwight talked about it. Dwight need to go ahead and do it. It's called Poly 101. You need to teach people some politics so that they understand what the hell they're talking about. Because we got too many intellectual people that think dumb people are as smart as them. If somebody's offended, that's probably the dumb person I'm offended. Most people think they know politics and don't know what the hell's going on. You complaining about stuff that you think the president is in control of, but it's your mayor and your commissioners that's it up for you. President is done with that situation. You complaining about people getting arrested. Y'all, and I hate to go back there. I know my business partner watching. I know people don't say it, but y'all was complaining about being corrupt, getting people convicted. That's not a state attorney. Y'all going after the wrong people. So you got a lot of real smart dumb people. They good with words, but don't know what the hell they talking about. Those people need to write poetry, not laws. So we just got to realize who we talking to and what we're talking about.
The other side of that is, like I said, I benefit from being able to sit in so many different circles or whatever. Like, I didn't know nothing about politics, honestly, because until I started hanging out with Dwight, right? And even with that, right, there was still a level of access that I wasn't really understanding because I come from a media, I come from a media theater kind of passion. So I didn't understand that there is a theater that goes involved in this particular world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we like to talk about shows like House of Cards or whatever, but there's how you sell the thing. So here it is. I'm sitting over here thinking like, I remember when I talked to Bull about stuff when he would be up on Capitol Hill as a senator. And I have this mind frame, like these people are intelligent and they're, posed and they're very learned and all these things. I'm like literally in my mind, because I'm hanging out with my homeboy and I know he's educated. I know his mom went in, you know what I'm saying? His dad was a principal. So I'm framing that based on my subjective viewpoint from an outer lens. And then I'm sitting in the room with dumbass Keone Mcgee's. And,
oh Lord.
And I'm like,
come on, Denzel, you go like that. We cool. You go. The nigga gonna call me and cuss me out for having you.
Tell him I said it, and tell him I said it, and I'm sitting here like, how is it that you hollering about you a Howard lawyer, and you work at the state attorney, but you couldn't say this right here was gonna lock up more niggas than you did when you was at the state attorney office, though? How, Sway? What they do that at though? You know what I'm saying? And then on the other side, we give to, you know, like, and I love Dr. Galen said this, we like to make it think like these white folks like they water tastes better than ours. You know what I'm saying? Or it's colder than ours. Or they smarter than us. No, it's not. They have the system in their favor, and everybody on here is 10 times smarter than the folks that we going against, but we don't like to put no pressure on the conversation. Never. I have never been in
a room. One thing you talked about, another thing you need that's not being discussed, and I know this is one of the reasons why you had tagged me. We do have to realize black people do have the power to flip the vote, but in Miami, we are only a million. We don't have the numbers, so you can't put all that pressure just on black people. So people actually also take the time to do simple things, which those simple things would be go look at the census and understand the population count. And understand what powers we actually. Janae, you is a hot mess.
I just have that. I have to. You gonna get
I go ahead and get your CNN on. Make sure you're neutral. But until we actually understand those numbers, a lot of stuff isn't going to work. Which is why I've always said it, and I would love to see it change. It's never going to be hard for somebody black to win a countywide office in Dade County unless we start locking down the primary. But as long as you have open primary, it's gonna be real hard and real tricky down there.
You know, look, my thing is, right, I don't care, like, and even if he listens to this, and I would say it to his face, and he knows that. I've never been one to back away from anybody.
No, and here's the thing, I welcome you saying this. I just wanted to make that clear, but I'm like, my platform is for everybody. You feel me?
No, I get it, because look, I'm an equal opportunity pop-off dude. The same smoke I give to black people, I give to these Latinos. You know what I'm saying? Debbie Mukasai Powell lost because she didn't listen. Donna Shalala wanted to go to dog parks with her dog, so you took an L too. So there you go. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Now you running around talking about something, oh, I should have won. Well, if you would have been on the block now thinking that you could just keep going up to you like people was going to come for you because of that, nah, you got to put in the work. The black community ain't show up for you. Sorry. We went another way. And them Latinos said, we want somebody who's going to represent us, and they got what they want. But my thing is this, right? Like, we keep talking in these silos, and this has to be, and this is what my issue is, because I know y'all saw me popping up on the Florida Democratic Party as a whole, and I have a personal vendetta because I saw this man, and I'm talking about Dwight, literally go and try to run. Now, this was crazy. Senator, all the accolades as a teacher, raise money for the party, all these things. Now, he goes over, rode the D hard for them, built out whole brands, turns around and says, just like Stacey Abrams, hey, look, I want to give my service to the party because I believe I can be able to give y'all something. I can reach generations y'all can't reach. I can get these silos of black people, Latinos y'all can't touch. We bring out more people in Miami-Dade County, but we got to mobilize a base. He's already a teacher, so he understands the logic. He's hip-hop generation. We get in the room. We getting black people talking about something. You know they ain't going to never have two of us on the panel. Oh, no, we not going to do that, boss. We not going to do that. Y'all think I'm playing. You think I'm playing?
So here's the thing. What is the solution? And I like that we brought up Stacey Abrams. Who's our Stacey Abrams? I know Gillum was kind of poised to be that, but they took him down in a hotel room.
So
here's Stacey Abrams.
Here's the kicker again. Janae, I don't want you. We need to stop appointing messiahs. Stacey Abrams did not do this alone.
That is true.
There are organizations like New Georgia Project, you know, Black Men Build. Black Male Voter Project that were pouring, you know, Latasha Brown with Black Voters Matter. Like, these are organizations and infrastructures that have been around. What I'll give credit to Stacey for, because she deserves a bunch of credit was she played the long game. Stacey, what you're seeing is the result of 6 years of work put in by Stacey and her organizational effort. So what I'm saying for us and Black folks is we can do the same thing. And guess what? At the end of it, if they attribute the credit to Janae Tate, so be it. But it's because of the fact that we put in the work, the infrastructure to make it happen. And all it was this. Stacey Abrams said, man, there are 800,000 Black people in my state that are not registered. I should register them. She did that and ran for governor. Then, when she was, 50,000 votes short, she also noticed that there was another 800,000 Black folks that had been either disenfranchised by voter purges or, again, were newly 18, older, and had not been registered. So Stacey Abrams and the collective grouping in Georgia registered almost 2 million Black people, almost to the exclusivity of the race. And so when you saw them late votes coming in Atlanta, it's because Stacey was like, I'm only registering Black folks in Macon, Augusta, Savannah, and the 9 surrounding counties of Atlanta, Georgia. That's my base. I'm not worried about the white moral voter who are trying to get back. I'm not doing it. So if Black folks said, we trying to register Haitian, Jamaican, Barbadian, Bayesian, all these folks, we're trying to collectively get our folks in tow, we gonna do some damage. And I wanna lift up, we have no time to play games because in 2024, I'm not even talking about the presidential, I'm talking about this new sheriff we gotta elect. And if you wanna see some problems, you go ahead and give almost $1 billion, $1 billion, how much we spend on police. Try to give that to somebody who's one of these Trumpistas, who's about to run for mayor of Miami-Dade County, and see who's gonna feel the pain.
Wow. And you know what? Great point about Stacey. Yeah, like I know Stacey didn't do that by herself. I'm almost saying, like, what does it take to get Florida or South Florida to do that? Or is that work already beginning?
It's already beginning, but it takes more. What I'm saying is, like, Vanessa has a network. You have a network. Anthony has a network. And these are people who we see on a regular basis who say the same thing all the time. Well, politics ain't for me. Democratic Party ain't there. Stacey was like very nonpartisan about it. Mind you, she's a Democrat, but she was like, this ain't about them. This about you. And if you want to see something change, you have to take power in this space. And that's a thing. Your vote is your exercise in power. Forget political parties, forget the cult of personality. Folks got to understand their value. And what I'm saying with Black folks, the same way I was telling Black folks are free. Y'all can go to restaurants. Like, stop acting like you out here being sharecroppers. This ain't our thing no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally got Black folks still in mental slavery, feeling as though I can't do this, or I can't do that. 3.2 million people live in Miami-Dade County. 23% of them are Black. Many of them not registered, many of them returning citizens. We got work to do. And what I'm saying is, it ain't nothing to print off some voter registration forms and beat the block. And what I'm saying is, we got 4 years. Because again, when somebody with a Z in their name decides they want to run for sheriff, and we out here, whether it's Joe Martinez on the county commission who said he wants to do it, or there's one of these bootleg state representatives who about to leave office and they want to do it.
Or did I freeze?
So I'm just saying.
That was me?
I think it's also a binary approach. If you're not in the game, you're out of the game. So if you're not voting, you're not helping the situation in any way, shape, or form. I think we have a very missed point of collaboration. Because if we talk about it, how many of us have went at 8 in Little Havana at some point? Anybody went to Little Havana 8? Had dinner down there? Okay. How many people you think in Little Havana has ever been to Miami Gardens and sit down and eat? Okay, that's our problem. We don't, and I'm trying to simplify the message because this is what I'm missing on. We don't have a point of collaboration because we go everywhere. They go where they feel comfortable. I'm gonna say that one more time. We go.
So y'all coming to South Dade? Y'all coming to South Dade? You coming to South Dade?
Nobody's coming to South Dade.
So this is the problem with that, right? There are more black people outside of Miami Gardens.
I don't got the
South Dade.
toll money. I don't got the toll money. They tried
See, there you
y'all.
go.
You can't even
So
get
you don't-
down there without paying a toll.
Okay.
I think
Well, tell the guy who gave us trees for 27 years to get me the rail, who co-signed on that other guy who was running around talking about some give us the rail when he was a minority leader. Maybe I wouldn't have that problem. That's all I'm saying.
But that's still gonna be date. And I think like Dwight, you pointed that out early. Dwight did a great job. But had some outstanding numbers. But again, you gotta understand data. There's still more black people out than there is in data. Like there's just certain elements we can't ignore. And you can falsify the way you present data, but you can't alter data to the point that it's gonna make it a lot. You know, so we have work to do. Registering people to vote, but I really think you gotta educate people. If you ask people what are the things they're the most upset about, and you told them to write them down, the top 4 things they don't like about politics, and then you ask them to say which person do you think controls the thing you're mad about, I bet you most people couldn't get 50% of it right.
That's true. So
my message is this, right? And I've said this over and over, and this is the reason why I go hard ham. I only say this because look, I'm about pretty much for the most part bipartisan, but you know what I'm saying, because we saw a large group of brothers start to move over on that line to vote onto the Republican side, which was scary to me. Shout out black women. Thank you for being the saviors of salvation of creation. I put a prayer for every black woman I know that day.
Too. Black men were second in line because I think that narrative has to switch.
They did.
Yeah, we have two of the strongest voting. The black women and the black men are two of the strongest voting powers we have. Everybody else is pretty much 50% or down. So black people vote heavy.
So let me give you this breakdown, and this is why I keep saying that we should be banging. We should do what the Trumpsters. We should do what the Tea Party. We should do what all of those parties did to the Democratic Party. Because, and this is the thing that me and Bull kind of put in my ear and my eye, but I didn't really understand until later. The power base of the Democratic Party is black people. The power base. They can't win, period, without us. So they have to prioritize our issues. After that, largest growing community inside the Democratic Party, Puerto Ricans, who got completely disrespected in the state of Florida, mostly Latinos. Only in South Florida do the Latino community, and Janae, you just said it. Your boyfriend told you, like, yo, outside of South Florida, Latinos don't run that. They don't run that nowhere else. Because and most of them lean by most standards to our degree because they being pushed out everywhere else. So here's the issue, and going to Mike's point, the Democratic Party shoots itself in the mouth every year because they're horrible with messaging. They're horrible with, we're going to make you vote against something, but you never told me what to vote for. You know what I'm saying? And then everything else comes off as coonish. So when we said collectively for the Democratic Party, look, y'all have to recognize you have failed in Florida. You are sorry. You deserve to be fired. Terry Rizzo, chairman, fired. Everybody downline, fired. All of you suck. You guys hired a whole ass Me Too movement dude to run the party who literally got fired because you didn't want to put the white bullet in the check because y'all was like, well, I don't think he got the juice. The man was good when he was a senator, so it's okay to put the billionaire in there who can fill up on young girls, but you're not going to put the good dude in the chair who's a teacher. That's what we going. That's what we do in the Democratic Party. Nobody want to talk about it. Youngest continual base that's coming in is millennials. So if you know your numbers and you know where your power stand, you play to it. But guess what the problem is? No one wants to talk about it. We got to keep on courting to white voters. 90% of the white voters went to the Republican Party. Who is the working class community? Black people, Latinos. But you won't rock with us though. Why? Because it's like that spaceship song with Kanye. Y'all put black people in the front of the stove. when you need us, and then you throw us in the back when you don't want us no more. No, it ain't going down like that no more. It ain't. You can't put that in the bag.
You just called it Kanye crazy ass. That is
that's
when Kanye went crazy.
Old Kanye. That was old Kanye. That was old Kanye.
Election cycle, a lot of people, a lot of the media, a lot of the black figureheads were calling people out on their shit, and we're like, listen, we gonna do this for you one time. But and this was a running narrative. They were like, yeah, let's congratulate Joe and Kamala, but we're gonna keep our foot on their necks. And that was the running narrative. I'm not sure if you all saw it. That was the running narrative, and they were like, all right, congratulations. Now here's the real work. Because guess what? We will cut off our arm to prove to y'all in 4 years that if you keep fucking with us, it's about to get real. So
I think a good point that you just made is reaching the masses versus trying to remove somebody from a cult. The Republican Party has a very much of a cultist mentality, and I don't think there's too many people there that just by your messaging you're going to change their mind, because the cult is already in. They've already put risk and given that drop of blood, and they're in that. They're sucked in, and I think they're either going to have to see it on their own from the truth being told, but we definitely, I definitely didn't see doing a good enough job to motivate people why they should vote. And it can't always be just to get Donald Trump out of office, because that's why I think we lost a lot of things down ballot. I think if you motivate people to vote, because the Republicans will always have that advantage. Democrats are just going to take everything away from you. They watch Fox News, so you already know the garbage they believe in. So you can't defend yourself against garbage. That's like trying to take the History Channel against Saturday Night Live. People still want to laugh.
Yeah.
So you gotta be more strategic. And Florida New Majority did mess up by not having Dwight Bullard in power. Florida New Majority did make some bad mistakes. And there's a lot of people that have had mishaps within base of Florida for communication. You're not going to reach people just by social media. You do need better messaging. And if you're on social media, it can't just be posts. You need video. You need content. You actually have to educate people. We have the largest base of college educated people that vote. You got to communicate with them on that level to make them understand why they're voting. You got to get more third party people to understand, hey, if you come to this party and you vote right now, we can try to implement some of your policies and ideas, but you can't keep turning people off. This is the only part, and I wish you were still on, because this is the only thing me and Valencia really disagree on. I understand wanting a third party, but there were no Republicans that were saying, I'm going to vote for a third party. And we constantly are dividing ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Just, we can't do it. And to do the Tea Party aspect, we got to get more of us into the Democratic Party, put in our ideologies, get our policies in place, and then you work it that way. But we just don't have the numbers to flip and to turn another system. You got to work the system that's there, and it's not there. That's just the way it is. I could hate Adobe Photoshop, but who has the platform to Adobe? So you got to look at certain things is too far in for you to change it. You can hate Facebook, but most people hate Facebook. They use Facebook to tell people that they hate Facebook. So until you actually make something better, it ain't gonna work out that way. Like, oh, I'm gonna leave Facebook. You literally posted leaving Facebook on Facebook. So until you actually learn how to work the platform, we won't win. But I just say data over everything, and it's not because I'm a data scientist. It's not because at the end of the day, data over everything, and just keep pounding the truth into them and make those bills. This is why I think Dwight could be like a Samuel Jackson. Take the bills and break them down into a more simplified format so people can digest them, and then let people know how other people voted on them. Because some of those bills are confusing as hell, and Dwight did a great job with us the last 2 years that we've done it, where you just break it down and be like, hey, this is what this bill is really saying, and these are people that voted against your interests. You got to start presenting stuff just like that. Quit giving them the speeches. Don't assume they know anything. Quit assuming people know anything. All they know is they're supposed to vote. Don't assume they actually understand shit they're voting for. And that's our problem.
Yeah. I mean, Denzel, I know you got to run, but I want to know, just from your scope of work, and as we wrap up, what is something that people could do, like the everyday person, what can they do to stay engaged and hold someone accountable? Like, what's something like very realistic that they can do? within their own power? Like, what do you see that as? And I want to pose that question to everyone.
Man, all elections are local, man. Like, you ain't got to coalesce on every, like Vanessa said, yo, I'm in North Miami. That's my concern. You know what I'm saying? Like, mine was simple. Dwight was the guy that was the teacher, that was my homeboy. He was a senator, or at the time he was a rep. I was like, okay, how can I connect to your world and my world? At the time, before I got into ministry work, I was like the guy that was in the neighborhood. So I popped off on the homeboys at the barbershop. I popped off on the folks on the block. I tried to use my family name and community access to be able to filter information upline to him. And then I maneuvered in those spaces, right? And then as I got more involved, now I'm at the clergy table and I'm the young high-head clergyman. You know what I'm saying? So then I make sure that they don't do the messed up stuff. Everybody got an access point, because this game goes beyond just the people in position. Sometimes, like we finding out right now with the president, it's the enablers that are the problem. You're enabling this person to be in a position that's literally hurting your community. If you love your community, then you gotta hold him better. And like I said if Keanu's watching, look, I love the brother, but I hate the way he operated. You know what I'm saying? And the reality of it is that you, by doing what you're doing, have completely and totally hurt people. You know what I'm saying? This is just a simple rule. I love Publix. Everybody knows that knows me. I love Publix chicken sandwiches.
Yes, you
if
do.
you cause me, and I got this from Dwight Bullitt, King Dwight Bullitt, if you cause me not to be able to walk to 160th because I did something messed up to your mama, your grandmama, not to be able to get my chicken tender sub, that's a problem for me. That should be the accountability measure. Can my face be good to go to Publix because I co-signed on somebody who literally gonna take something from my grandma, my mama, my auntie? That should be your politics. It shouldn't be that complicated. Like, yo, I knew Daniella. I got on Daniella. Luisa Santos went to high school behind me. I got on her. Everybody else, I ain't got much for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what? We can't be afraid to hold people accountable and say we disagree, and it shouldn't be the end of the world or a fucking atom bomb and nothing. You know, it's like if you don't agree with him, that doesn't mean that you hate him and he's the worst person in the world. You're just saying, hey, I'm critical of these things here, and this is where I want you to improve. And I think we got to be able to have those conversations too. I think sometimes some of our elected officials get so sensitive and so emotional if you ever criticize something that they do, and it's like, well, damn, it's like you can't ever say anything to them, and we got to kind of get out of that as well. So
Ain't
I
no
mean,
messiahs.
I appreciate you speaking that.
Ain't no messiahs.
Mike, I know you're on the road. I want to know if you have any tips that people could do, tangible things that people could do to stay engaged and to hold people accountable.
I would say treat voting like a relationship. Find yourself a good counselor to talk to, where you can get through the emotional turmoil of everything we went through and get somebody that can actually explain to you the things that you don't know. Like my wife is the one that reads the sample ballots for us, and we talk about what's on the ballot. And I think people don't have enough conversation. Don't feel you have to know everything. You know, in the black world and the black people, when it comes to business, we have over mentorship and not enough money and not enough resources. I think in politics, when it comes to understanding politics, we don't have enough mentorship and we don't have enough people teaching us. If you don't understand an amendment, if you don't understand the bill that you're voting for, you don't know why you're voting for a candidate, find somebody that you can trust that's neutral, or if you know they have the same views as you or the same common goals, let that person explain it to you, but don't sit in the corner thinking you got to figure it out by yourself. Because that's how I think a lot of relationships go wrong. Oh, I'm not going to talk to nobody. I'm just going to make it work. No, get a counselor. Get a friend to tell you that you messing up. Get somebody to explain it to you. But let's be more open and trust the data. Quit thinking you know everything and just trust the data.
I love it. I love it. Anthony, what are some things that people can do?
First of all, we got to dismantle a lot of the BS narratives that we have out here. One of the biggest narratives that's very misleading and is very destructive amongst us is going around talking about we have a black and brown unity. We don't have a black and brown unity. I've asked people many times to show me a black and brown unity on a mass level. And I have people that can't show me that. And I tell them straight up, the only black and brown unity you have on a mass level was coming from Fidel Castro. And a lot of people will tell you Fidel is your enemy. Fidel is not your enemy. When you do your research, Fidel was the one who actually reached out to George Bush when we had Katrina to send doctors and aides and all that over here to the U.S. And Bush denied Fidel Castro from helping our black folks over here. Right now, you can, as a black person, you could get free education over there in Cuba. Even though Fidel is not here, his legacy of that contract will forever be for black people. So when you start talking about black and brown unity, there is no black and brown unity. It's very minute. So once we get away from that, we can understand that we can build a black and brown unity when we know that there is no black and brown unity that exists. That's why we have this rift of Cubans or Hispanics that vote one side and black people vote on the other side. There's a rift. Also, we have to understand that information, we got to get the correct information out here. Like I said before, a lot of times, and myself, I'm guilty too. I run off in the booth, and if it wasn't for my state rep, I wouldn't even know who to bubble in the names for. I used to bubble in names based on last names, Campbell. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I was one of those persons until I started educating myself or being around people that educate me. Like Michael was saying earlier about the bills. There's bills on there that we don't understand to the fullest, right? Even one of the bills that very controversial bill was the minimum wage. Now, when I voted no because shout out to Crabman 305, a very prominent business owner out here in Opelika. And I remember we used to sit down and have talks in front of his restaurant. And he told me, he said, Ant, when it comes to minimum wage, you know, a lot of black businesses are going to suffer because these major corporations can support $15 for their employees, but we can't pay $15 for our employees and for us to be substantial and be above water. That's too much overhead for us. So there's different levels of education that we have to do. And as black media, we have to do a better job. I have to do a better job. And I know your platform is doing a great job, especially by you putting together this forum right here with these powerful people. We're getting information to people that some people probably didn't even know prior to tonight. So I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Mungan. You guys rocked on Trapping Ain't Dead. I learned a lot politically from there. I learned a lot of great leaders from there. So black media is very important. We're the only group that has the least amount of information that gets appointed to us. There's over 15,000 radio stations nationwide, and we only have less than one per estate. So it's sad. We got to get the communication out there.
Agreed. Thank you. And Vanessa, I want to come to you. What can people do to hold elected officials accountable, and what can we do to keep this civic engagement? What are some tangible things that you're thinking of, that people could do?
It's so many things, but I'm gonna say it's good to say support, black media, this and that, but support comes in terms of money. Like I am very
hallelujah.
I'm very hardcore based when it in terms of support, right? Because people are like, oh yeah, support, and it's like, okay, thank you for retweeting me, appreciate that, but like honestly, I need the pieces to hit, right? And thank you for your retweet, thank you for your repost, but if that money's not here, then how can we push out these good candidates? And this is coming from me. I ran for office last year, and it's like, yo, these people who are so-called the machine, they're not the machine out of thin air. They're the machine because of different mechanisms that are put behind them, so that can catapult them into those spots, right? And that all circles down to what? Money, right? So the more leverage that you have, the more financial leverage that you have, the more noise you can make. If you don't have any money, then guess what? I'm not saying you can't make any noise, but let's just be realistic. How much noise can you really make against the machine? Probably none. They can probably drown you out. They can probably make you look like a demon. They can do a lot of damage to you. That's where the mudslinging comes from, right? And people are gonna be like, "Well, why didn't you speak back?" I did. Y'all just didn't hear me because I didn't have enough funds to
magnify it. To
magnify it, right? I didn't have enough money to get on this editorial to pay for this. So I'm all for money, man. I'm totally grassroots too. Don't get me wrong, because I I canvassed every day, and a lot of people that never voted before were like, "I'm gonna just do it because you're young and you Black." Like a lot of people told me that, and then I brought them to the polls. We did it, whatever, and that's it. And they're like, "Who should we vote for?" I'm like, "Listen, you could vote for these other people, but this is who you came for. Do what you have to do." But I think putting money behind all these resources is the most important, because you can canvas your ass off, but then like money is really going to be the biggest challenger, right? And for holding elected officials accountable, you may not be able to go to those city council meetings. I know that the city of North Miami is, I think, the second and fourth Tuesday beginning at 7 p.m. But everybody doesn't work a perfect work schedule, right? So even if you see something going on in your neighborhood, just write them right there or tweet them right there, like, because you're on your phone anyways, right? And if they really want to be out here in the paint with us, they're gonna have an accessible social media handles anyways. Shoot them a quick text, shoot them a quick email, and that's all it has to be. You're texting people anyways. You on Twitter anyways. You're on Instagram anyways. Shoot them a DM, tweet them. So honestly, it's hitting them up through social media or like whichever way you think is gonna be faster, and money. That's it. Without money, good luck, Charlie.
Thank you, girl. Senator Dwight, I want to bring it home with you, the educator, the informer senator. What can people do, like tangible things that they can do to stay engaged, and what can they do to keep elected officials accountable moving forward? Because we can't go back to sleep.
No, I feel you on that one. To quote Brother Fred Hampton, you can't care for Black people if you don't love Black people, right? And that's something that folks need to understand. And what I mean by love is not that toxic love that many of us grew up watching in our households, unfortunately. Not that toxic love that we've heard in music and songs, but that agape style religious love that we hear about, that unconditional love, right? We have to recognize that we're messed up. You know what I'm saying? We're messed up, but it's not our fault. You know, we're messed up because of the conditions created by people who set up systems that have left us, insecure, too reliant on misinformation, and really not ready to do the things that we need to do. But the first step is acknowledging that, right? In acknowledging that, you have to understand and know your history. And I'll say that again, know your history. Because we already know the history of the oppressor. We've been inundated with that. We've been told that a million times over. Know your history. Understand your greatness, understand your abilities, and then you'll take that and actually maneuver that mindset into moving forward. And we've seen this throughout our history as a people, right? We tout names like George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass and W.E.B. Du Bois, Rosa Parks and Fannie Lou Hamer, and all these amazing people. What they all had in common was an aha moment where they recognized their ability to be a contributor to the movement and care and love of our people. And if you cannot manifest or conjure that ability, then we've got work to do. But we have room for you to learn your truth, right? Charles Hamilton Houston, too often not talked about, amazing person, mentor to Thurgood Marshall, had a simple breakdown. Either you are a social architect or you are a social parasite.
Woo.
Let me say that again for the folks in the back, right? Either you are a social architect or a social parasite. There's a Black man articulating this. Basically, what that translates to is either you can be a builder or a destroyer of your people. There is no in between. There is no let me sit on the sidelines. If you sit on the sidelines and you're not contributing to the better effort of our people, you are a parasite. And that means, now understand what I mean by that. Pouring into your children, phenomenal. Starting your own business, being at work 9 to 5, great. The question is what you're doing contributing to the growth and the excellence of Black people? That should be a question you ask yourself every day when you wake up and look in the mirror. And if the answer is no, you got work to do. And I need folks to understand that we collectively have work to do. That's going to be the thing that holds folks accountable. That's going to be the thing that motivates you to be the entrepreneur that you want to be. That's going to be the thing that allows you to pass on generational wealth, not just financial, but of knowledge as well to your children. Again, we can't go at it alone. We've always, as an African people, been centered in collective growth. And understand that when you try to operate as an individual, that means that you are simply embodying the toxicity of the oppressor that has been oppressing you forever. When you understand your true African self, you'll understand that we are better together than we are apart. Period.
That's deep, as my sister, my cousin Tamila said. Deep, Senator. You know what? Y'all gave us some really, yeah. What you said, I say, Anthony. Man, this show don't owe me shit. Like, I hope everybody watching got some good information. I really, really appreciate y'all for taking time out of y'all busy schedule to stay on me, and a little bit longer than we expected. So if y'all got to hop off, it's cool. I'm going to go full screen. But I just want to say publicly, thank you. And V and Denzel had to jump off. So grateful for them. So grateful for y'all. I would love to do this again to break stuff down if y'all are willing. Because I think the people need to hear it. And a lot of people in the comments were like, yo, like, thank you. Like, this was a good conversation. And so I want to say again, thank y'all for chiming in, giving people tools, giving people knowledge, and just letting them understand what happened on Tuesday and how that affected us and what we need to do moving forward. I think there were some tangible things that we could take away.
Congratulations to you to go out and actually put it together. Most people don't have the courage to talk about things that make people uncomfortable. So congratulations to you for making it happen.
Oh, man,
appreciate you, Janae, for making this happen. For real.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. So
just to see how from the first day High-Low News started to see where it manifests today, like that shit is phenomenal. Yo, it's phenomenal.
Man, I appreciate that, and you already know. I really appreciate that, y'all. So I'm about to pay some bills, but like I said, thank y'all for tuning in and coming on the show with me. Let me talk to the audience real quick, and y'all have a good evening. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Ant. Thank you, Dwight, Mike, B, Denzel. Y'all, was this not a good show or not? Chill. Oh my gosh. First of all, Denzel snatched my edges all the way off. Didn't expect him to go in and pop off like that, but yeah, mommy. That's what mama loved you to take. It was a good show. I learned a lot. Sometimes I just had to sit back. Mike Hepburn, I seen you in the comments. I got to get you on the show. Y'all make sure y'all are subscribing to High-Low News. I try to get this type of information into my newsletter every week. So y'all go to HighLowNewsMiami.com if you want to sign up. Also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the places, all the things, we are there. And like they said, support. We do advertising. This could have been sponsored by a business. All these people watching, y'all could have been on here. You could have been on my show. And my Varnell Hill voice from Martin. Y'all got to catch that. But I just really enjoyed this so much. I really love y'all. My sixth audience member or panel member, my audience, y'all coming in with the comments, with the dope comments, with the good commentary. I really, really appreciate that. Y'all, make sure you support High-Low News. That's one thing that you could do if you want to stay engaged with what's going on politically, locally, government-wise, business-wise, with Black businesses, urban millennials. This is what High-Low News is here for. And so, again, I want to thank y'all for supporting us and keep rocking with us, because without y'all, we couldn't do it. But there's room to grow, and I'm so happy that y'all along this journey with me. Yeah, Denzel, Tamila, he really took my edges off, my little poor edges. I said, oh, he is really going in. But I love that, and this is what this platform is for. It's for us to be able to air our grievances, be critical of power, speak truth to power, tell our side of things, but come together and continue to grow together. And so I'm happy that I was able to provide that. And I'm glad that y'all was here to watch it with me. Like I said, like and share this video. We're gonna do more of these tomorrow. I'm going to be interviewing Ruben Roberts. We're going to be talking about mental health. He has a cool initiative that I want to get to the people right now. Mental health is so important. And in the Black community, we have some stigma still going on. So I want to talk with him about that. So y'all tune in tomorrow at 7:30. We're going to be talking about that with Ruben Roberts. Again, thank you for watching High Low News. I love y'all for real. Y'all my people. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to try to get us some more videos and stuff. So, yeah, I love y'all. Bye.